Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mupo and Friends. I'm Holly Lombardi,
And I'm Michelle Mupo.
and we are brought to you by Mupo TV. You can watch this and all our episodes at www.mupoentertainment.com and tune in every Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for our live chat on our Mupo Entertainment YouTube channel.
That's right, 2 p.m. Eastern. Be there because if you're not there, you're never going to get to see all the celebrities that come in and actually text with our people. Like we had last week. It was jamming, wasn't it, Holly?
It was so much fun. It is really fun because the celebrities come on. Some of them we don't even know. They just show up, and we have a few extra people that show up too that you might know, and you'll get to chat and interact. It's a lot of fun, a lot of fun. So 2 p.m. Eastern on Sundays, we will see you there. But we have a very. I want to know. Wait, Michelle. Did you have a Mupo awesome
It
week?
was Mupo awesome. It was just perfect with family and friends. And of course, Friday I got to see Muffin, Senior Mateo, and Sugar Monroe. So Friday was probably the better, day.
Sugar Monroe. Gotta love a dog named Sugar Monroe. It's
She
so
is.
Hollywood.
You know what? She's kind of getting. I don't know. Before I thought she was demonic, but now she's kind of growing on me. But
What kind of dog is she again?
they're all French bulldogs, but she is a puppy and she is bossing the boys around like they are kids. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. And they listen too. Like Muffin will take his food and then just put the food down. Like I'll give him a treat and he'll put it down and then he'll let her get it. And I'm just like, "No."
Oh, she knows her power of woman.
Yeah, yeah. She is. She is woman, hear her roar. Sugar Monroe is at the door,
That's
ripping up the
right.
carpet on the floor. She's funny.
She is. Well, I got to hula hoop this weekend, and I finally broke out
Wait,
my hula hoop.
you
Took it
hula
to
hoop?
yes, took it to a park. And, of course, you gotta keep it away from the furniture. So I get a little, I start thinking I'm professional, and I start trying to do hula hoop around my neck and hula hoop around my arms. I go
How
show
big is
style
it?
on it.
Is it a
It's
big one?
big. Yeah, it's big, and it's Mupo colors.
How it's Mupo
It it's
colors?
it's hot pink and black.
I
Yes.
didn't even know they still made them.
Oh, yeah.
That's like from the Brady Bunch.
Oh, no, there's, like, hula hoop. There was, well, before we got locked down, there was hula hoop, classes and like a day, to go learn how to hula hoop by
Wow.
professional hula hoopers. Oh, yeah.
I
So
don't
I was
think we
super
have that on the
excited.
East Coast. I don't think we have that at all.
Yeah, it's cool. I love it.
Here,
I love it. So it was a Mupo awesome hula hooping weekend.
you know what we should do, Holly? We should get Mupo Awesome shirts. So Mupo Awesome with Mupo and friends on it.
I love it. I love it. But listen, we've got a very
I
special Mupo
know.
awesome guest.
I'm
And I'm
excited.
super excited because you and I both had an experience with her that was Mupo awesome. No, it was a really great experience. You'll know what we're talking about when you meet her, but we're going to take a quick break, commercial break, and we will be right back. Hello, everyone, and we're back on Mupo and Friends. Our special guest today is a dancer, choreographer, Reiki master, intuitive life coach. This freedom seeker opened her own dance studio at age 21, and it became one of the top 20 dance studios in the nation. She went on to be the creator of what is now called the Spiritual Shit Show. Gotta love that name. Please welcome Julie Nguyen. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, how are you?
So
Excellent.
we are Mupo Awesome.
We are Mupo awesome is
I'm
right.
Mupo awesome too.
Yes, you are.
Excellent. She could
Had se-
move.
We had
Mhm.
so much to talk about with you, and I have to say thank you. I had such a great experience. An audience, you will find out about this as we go on, but such a great experience in our Reiki session. So I'm just so grateful.
And for those of
My
you
heart feels like it's breathing.
and for those of you who don't know, we both experienced Julie. So we've gotten to take a session from her, and she's the real deal. I
Yes,
want to
she
know
is.
though, how did you know you were going to do this? Like, when did you know? Like, when did you say this is what my purpose is and this is what I'm going to do?
It's interesting because so I do energetic healings and readings, and the more I do it actually now, the more aha moments and understanding I get, even though I don't think I'll ever understand it all. But I used to get Reiki done in my early 20s, even though I had no idea what I was supposed to be experiencing or what it is. I was just kind of drawn to it. And then I had surgery in my early 30s, and I didn't want to go back and get another surgery. So I started seeking out energetic healings. I was doing everything I could so I wouldn't have to go get this other surgery. So that's when I kind of dropped into Reiki and started taking the courses. So this is in my early 30s. And my very first Reiki, so at the time I was a dance studio owner here in town as well. So I wasn't interested in pursuing this as a career at all. And then my very first Reiki attunement in a level 1 was the first time that I saw angels. And it was something that I didn't know if it was just like a dream state or whatever, but it was my very first attunement that I got attuned literally to the angelic realm. And then after that, I was just practicing Reiki, and certain like colors would come in, and I'd hear different names, but I didn't understand it. So I went to Barnes and Noble and I got an angel book, and then lo and behold, this energy and frequency that was coming in the healings was very angelic, and they were talking to me. I just didn't know who they were, but I was able to tagline their color, the color that they were bringing in, and then their name that they were saying, which was so foreign to me. And then it's just kind of evolved from there. So I don't think it was necessarily ever anything that I set out to do. And I think it's these gifts that I've always had and an interest in spirituality, but it's time, which makes sense now on the planet that a lot of people are going through this inner awakening to step into your inner gifts.
So
I
I just have one question, because you said you saw the angels. Did they what did they look like? Because I think I see angels all the time, but they don't look like people that are family members, and I think they are. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So I believe there's different types of angels. So I think there's a lot of earth angels that have come into my life. So they actually are physical form. And almost, I don't know how woo we want to get, but like I think the universe or God or whatever it talks is always kind of supporting us and integrating people and things to support you, messages, random synchronicities. We just are not really taught how to listen to them at a very young age, but I think we intuitively do, and then we get into the world and we shut it down and we think it's crazy or we're crazy. But in my attunement, my very first attunement, the practitioner, the Reiki master, will blow into your head and attune you to the energetic frequency. So then now you are aligned with them. So then you can offer that energy to other people. So the first day was a 2-day thing for level 1. And the first day I kept on seeing angels randomly in the space that she was teaching at. And I was like, that's interesting. But then the next day it was just like an angel that you would see in the books, white, huge, and as big, like bigger than the room, but also I could see it, if that makes sense. It was like a weird perception, like it was humongous, but it was also tangible in sight.
Wow. Yeah, no, I can.
That's
because
amazing.
I can. Just remind me on break about that big long angel up to the wall, because I want to tell you a story.
I'm so glad you guys are talking about this stuff.
No, I love it. I love it. Actually, I experience quite a bit in our session. And one of the things that was very interesting to me, and I know Michelle had said, oh, she does these voices come out, this language. And I didn't find it strange at all. I know a lot of people, a lot of y'all would be like,
Well,
what?
their tongues.
Yeah, tongues. But I know, and it sounds real strange, and call it woo woo, call it what you want. But this is real. And it I felt when you were doing that, I really, in some way, I felt I really understood whatever was being said. I felt like I really saw myself in this different space and time, and really understood, like almost as if elders were speaking to me.
Mhm.
So it was very interesting, very uh, amazing. And it's like you're you, but it's almost like traveling through it into different time dimensions. That's what it feels like a little bit.
I'm going to tell you my experience, Holly. I was sitting there and I had my eyes closed and I was meditating. Literally, she brought me back to 5 years old and I was crying, but I wasn't crying. Tears were coming down my eyes, but I wasn't like sobbing, crying. It was like
Right.
they were just, it was. And then when I got done, it felt like there was 50 layers that got just released.
Right. That's how I felt. I felt like my heart was open, like it had oxygen in it, like it was actually free. It was
She is a
ease. There was
healer.
ease. It was just so, and I felt not an overwhelming like high, like a high you get when you go, in a group or on a retreat or that kind of thing. It was just a very serene piece. Something had been shifted and released, and it was great. It was great. I highly recommend it. If anyone, can you share with people the essence of what Reiki is, what specifically people can use it for, and how it works?
Yes. And this is just my own personal experience and my own personal take on it. I feel like Reiki is a great introduction to attuning to a bigger force that somewhere along the line in our life we've gotten disconnected from, or it's become convoluted. Is that the word I would? It's just been like just gotten messy with different ideologies or spiritual beliefs, right, wrong, all of this other stuff. So Reiki itself is there's symbols that will attune you to, but everything in the universe is symbols. There's so many geometric symbols. Reiki, for the most part, has three main ones that you can use, but I think that after you get into it, you'll see these other gifts beginning to emerge. So I say it's Reiki, and I do Reiki, but it's evolved for me. That's what like the tongues that you said. It's just light language. So it's everything's at a frequency, and everything is at a vibration. So I can speak to you right now just from my own egoic personal self. And if I can step myself out of the way and I can speak directly to your soul or your spirit or understand the energy, or that's when this light language comes through that holds a higher vibration than even than how we communicate. And that's why it's able to be understood. So I feel like Reiki is just a great introduction to your own spiritual energetics and realigning with how to be in this world. And I think we study and kind of like think of these things of like we hear things that I am I'm spiritual and I'm not, what is the thing?
I'm spiritual. I'm not religious.
No.
I'm a spiritual guru.
No, I'm a spiritual person in the human experience or something like that.
Oh, right.
You know what I'm talking?
Yeah. I think, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just mesmerized because I got to tell you, there's something about your aura that just, it relaxes me. Like I was very stressed the past 2 days, and I don't know, just knowing that we were going to be on with you, I woke up and I was like, okay, let's do it. It was just you're old. The other thing that's cool about it is with Reiki, like, don't you do the chakras too?
Yeah. So there, we are this energetic system. That's why, there's things on like grounding, going outside barefooted and reconnecting to the earth and the electromagnetic field of the earth and how good that is for your body. So we are part of nature. Somewhere along the line, human beings have gotten so disconnected from the earthly field and how things work. So if you look, just like even watch like a plant, like on a time lapse, and it goes in a circle. So everything is always in motion. We are constantly formed from this spiral of energy, and we have chakras. So we've got, depends on how many you want to. I think technically we have 12, but the typical one through the body is 7. And then you have an 8.
Yeah.
But then it even goes farther than that. And then you have your auric field. And so what I specifically love doing is just tapping in, just to bring, like, it's funny for me because even if I have my own personal beliefs around somebody, when I tap into spirit and guidance and invite it in, it is seriously nothing but love. Like, we are all divinely loved. And even if my mind catches and it's like, yeah, well, what about this? Like, they want to know about this. Like, spirit's always like, yeah. Like, we don't care about that. Let's just remind them how loved they are. Remind them their gifts that they have. Remind them like their mission, so to speak. So it's beautiful for me to be able to tap into spirit. And then what I'm seeing now is these hooks that we get in life, either this life, or if you believe in past lifetimes, a lot of it is past lifetimes. So even though we're consciously creating our world, doing energy work helps you to be like, damn, I didn't even know, that at 3 years old, I picked up this belief system, and how this belief system and this energetic pattern has been kind of like fueling all of my decisions and my, how I pick a partner, how much money I allow myself to have, or success, like all of these things. So the energy also, in not only clearing it, it gives you a straight line, like, okay, now look back and see, like, when you were 14 years old and this incident happened, and you, of course, got over it, but not really. Like, from that part in your lifetime, that is when you decided that A, B, or C. And then you can see how that carries forward with you into your adulthood. And then when you realize that, you're like, oh, damn. All right, well, okay, I don't believe that anymore. And thank you, you may go. And then that purging of these old cycles that we don't even know sometimes are there helps you just feel so much more free in ourselves, and happy.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a great question for you. But first, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with Julie Nguyen.
And we're back. Take it away, Holly.
Yes, we are. We're having fun backstage. Yes, we are back. Thank you for joining us on Mupo and Friends. We're having a lot of fun. That's what it's about. We're here with Julie Nguyen, and we were talking.
You, Julie.
We do.
I do. I feel like I've known you all my life.
Probably.
You never know.
And you knew I'm going to tell you, she knew exactly when I had that white communion dress that I just rolled in the mud. You had to know me to been through that. I didn't want to wear a dress. I'm not a dress person. But I rolled in the mud after my communion. I was like, screw this. I'm getting with the boys. Because that dress was ridiculous.
Behind it, though, I forget. I go into a little bit of a trance. So I don't always remember what it is. But why? Why was that so important for you to remember?
No,
do you remember?
I don't know, but it was something that I remembered. You just said you just got to get down to the nitty gritty. You were just like, get down to your roots. And what you said was so deep that, you know what? I did lose myself after I'm like 53. Okay. I'm going to be 54. Oh my God. In a couple months and September. Right. So it's like this. There's times in your life when you're going down that yellow brick road. And then there's times where you go off the yellow brick road. I was really off because I had to really get with myself. Like, I really don't care what other people think. You know what I mean? I'm just myself, and either you love me or you hate me. You know what I mean? And everyone should really be like that, but have respect for one another. Do you agree or do you disagree?
Yes. That's what I'm working on myself right now um, is how do you step into yourself and really experience life the way you want to experience it and not give a care what anybody else is thinking. And then in that too, practicing, if I don't want people to judge me, I also have to practice having non-judgment for everybody else. So it's
That's
this
hard.
beautiful, yeah.
Right.
So getting back to what I was saying about the whole, getting back to where you need to be and where you want to be, you just got to do it. Write down, what I learned in life? You have to write down everything that you want to do, write down things that are stopping you from doing it, and then figure out a way to overcome what's stopping you to make the other stuff happen.
And if I may add to it, but that's where the energy work comes in, is because when you're working with energy, you're not working with the egoic mind. I just said that weird. You're not working with the egoic mind at all. So sometimes, like, I can say I want like a big mansion and I want a big fancy car, which sounds fantastic. However, the truth to who I am, I want those things so I can feel better about myself, so I can have status in the world, so I could feel like I accomplished something. But the true nature of actually who I am, I don't really care about any of that. I'm really seeking for peace and groundedness, and I want to soak up all the experiences of life. That's number one. Now, if all the other things come into my life, fantastic. But I have to be able to catch why I want these things. So when you're goal setting, you always have to question, what's stopping you from it, but then take it a level deeper so you can identify these belief systems that you may have adapted, or these certain energetic tools that are kind of pulling you back, you know what I mean, from attaining those. And then once you clear all that out, you have a clear landscape, so to speak, from which to create really what it is that feels aligned with you. So I think in that, there's so many people, and myself included, hold this story as I've reached success. Like, I was successful and I had money and I had everything, and I was not happy. Like, I worked so hard to get to the top, and once I was there, I was like, this is it. Like, I'm still not satisfied. So it's always taking it a little deeper into what is it really that does my soul want? Because there's a difference between what your soul and your spirit wants versus what your mind tells you that you want. Because the mind's telling you have to be big and successful and have people like you, and like, which is all fantastic. I enjoy doing those things as well. But my soul of who I am actually wants sweetness, and
Right.
to be simple.
Absolutely. It's like going from your head to your heart, and really, I think in leadership, and all these coaching curriculums that people do, they talk a lot about really, finding your goals, finding your why. And I'm seeing how that correlates to the work you're doing, because you're taking the ego aspect out of it and really centering on what's really in your heart. And that's where it all stems from. We really function in society on the mechanics of things, and we forget our intention. So it's really it seems like the work that you're doing is very intentional. It's really coming from who you really are, raw, real, who is Michele, who's Holly, who's Julie, and you're going from there instead of the mechanics of it.
And what it is that you are needing. So I did an energy session with, she's an influencer, and it was like all this energy coming in for her of like how creative she is. And what they kept on saying is, but like ground her, like she is going to need to be grounded, because really what was coming in is that she's going to be like, what she wants to do is be in movies. And it was all there. And it was like, oh, this is happening for you. It is there. But before all of this happens, you need to root yourself so you don't lose yourself when you achieve all of this success. So let's work on, and this was spirit coming in, let's work on grounding tools, like things that you can do to literally keep your feet on the earth and to keep yourself connected to who you are, so you can experience all of the dreams that you have without getting, it's almost like you can get lost in the wave. You can either surf the wave and love it, or the wave can come and take you, and then you're swimming in the middle of nowhere, wondering how you even got there. So that's
what are some of the tools that you use in grounding people?
I was just thinking that.
There's a lot. So when it comes to goals and grounding, I think it's always asking yourself the bigger question of why, and continuously doing energy work so you can make sure that it's rooted into your purpose and to your goal, and to who you are. But physically, there's like something that you can do, put on just like a grounding cord. So your imagination is super important when you're doing energy work. So like right now, I just you can just put your feet on the floor and close your eyes, and you just imagine like tree roots. You can do a tube of light. You can do a waterfall. I tend to gravitate more towards tree roots. So right above my belly, and then about 2 to 3 inches out, I imagine tree roots starting to grow, and they grow down my legs and then into the shins and then to the feet, and then allow the roots to continue to grow as deep and as wide as they want. And then once they're as deep and as wide, you can spend more time even thinking about like, what's the texture of them? Is there like a ton of small little ones that are intertwining? Or is it just big, thick ones? So what do the tree roots look like? And then reach up and then just give them a nice little yank, pull them down. And then from here, just feel your feet on the floor and feel your seat.
I have big tree roots.
Yeah, and then just imagine this beam of light coming through the crown of your head, coming all the way down the center, connecting into the roots. And then seeing now this light going down through the legs into the roots. Just feeling anchored.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
I feel grounded now.
I really could visually see it. And when it was funny, before you said that, you said, are they big roots? Are they, I already had seen that my roots, they were bigger, they were thicker. That was like a big tree trunk. I was like, wow.
I don't know, but I feel like saying Nam
beautiful.
Myoho Renge Kyo.
What?
I love that.
I always do Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho, and then I do Myoho Bin Bon. I meditate. I do the I do every morning. I chant, and I chant at night before I go to bed, because if I don't do it, I'm not happy. And like if I'm in traffic, and like not that I drive 6 miles. I'm lucky to one place, and then I come back 6 miles. But within that 6 miles, it's like, and there's traffic at 5 o'clock or something. It's crazy. And then I'm like, oh my God, seriously? So that whole thing, I don't know. I don't even know where I was going with that, because I just don't know. But I just know that I get road rage. And when I get road rage, I have to, not road rage, but I just stresses me out. I have to start chanting, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, Nam Myoho. And I don't know if people, my friend Hal does it with, he knows how to do it. But like there's certain people that do it and certain people that don't. And I believe you have to take yourself out of yourself and go to a higher being. I believe that. I don't know if I'm right or wrong.
So the company that I have, the coaching company, is called Spiritual Shit Show, because I felt like exactly what you guys were saying earlier. It's like, how do we take these, it's like universal wisdom and anchor it into what it's like to be a human being. You know, that even if I'm meditating or chanting, that doesn't mean I have to like now just wear yoga clothes and like say namaste to everybody. Like, I still get to be a human party and have fun and all these other things, but it's teaching these universal principles of actually how to work with energy. So the grounding cord, the grounding tool that we just did, I learned that when I was in like a psychic school that I was taking probably about 10 years ago. And they were saying you can do that on everything. So in my car, I put a grounding cord on my car, and I know it sounds weird, but since I was taught how to do it, I've never gotten a ticket. I've never gotten pulled over. My car is always safe. Every time I'm in somebody else's car, I just energetically put a grounding cord on that car. And it just feels like it keeps you safe. There's always a protection energy around it just to kind of get us to where we need to go. And then my husband, Han, does the same thing. So there was traffic the other day, and literally he threw his hand out and he was like this. And for whatever reason, we hit no traffic. Everybody else was in traffic. We never got into
so
traffic.
Cool. He is cool.
This is like what we just did, what you call the grounding.
So that was a grounding cord. Yeah. And that was just super quick. So
I could just picture him.
So when you do your hand like that is also symbolic of it.
That's just what he does.
Okay.
You guys, and for those of you who don't know, Han Soto is married to Julie.
Yeah.
And Han is just, I adopted him. He's my brother. He is the coolest guy. I got to tell you. He really is. And I could see why he's with you, because you guys are just like one. It's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. How do you let go of your past and forgive others, and yourself? Like, how would someone do that? Because I know you know how to do that.
Well, it's taken me 5 years. So I'm still in the process. So I would always tell everybody that, when people say, let it go, don't let it go. Like, your lessons are going to be with you until they're finished and until you heal them. So the more, if there's like a pain or forgiveness or a grudge that you're holding against somebody else, the more you just push it down and wait for it to go away. It just kind of sits there, and eventually it possibly can fester into some sort of illness. So forgiveness for me was, I learned, it's like you learn these things, and then it takes a second for it to integrate into your body and to kind of open up space. But what was healing for me is to realize that, like for me, it was a sibling, and it's been turbulent for a really, really long time. And it's been crushing to me. But every time she kind of did something to took me to court, drained my finances, like it was ugly. But every time she did it, it pulled something else out of me, either more peace or more understanding, or I went to get another certification, or I sat with it. So I realized that she has been one of my biggest spiritual teachers. As much as for a long time, I would prefer that to not have happened, because it was so, bleh. But every time she did it, it was it was a spiritual meaning in it for me. So I see that maybe on the other side, that we all have soul contracts, and we've agreed to come down here to help each other, to learn these lessons, to push each other into new spaces. And sometimes that push seems ugly. So I know at the end of the day, everybody who I feel has hurt me actually has helped me. So in that, I can say a deep, deep gratitude and a deep thank you. Because if everything was easy in my life, there wouldn't be, some disruption is beautiful. Sometimes disruption kind of shakes things up and pulls different parts of yourself out, so you can step into new spaces for yourself. And so I don't know if we answered it, but seeing everybody as serving you instead of hurting you is helpful, even though it's not easy.
It's
that
true.
whole life happening for you, not to you. And they do say that the people in our lives are our biggest teachers or lessons.
Mhm.
that we're here to learn, that we actually choose them when we come into this life, because
Mhm.
that is the journey that we're taking.
Hmm.
So I know that your extensive background in dance. Do you incorporate the language of dance into what you do now?
Yes. So it's evolving. So um, I feel like dance is also just a universal language. And when I was coming out, so what my backstory is, I started a dance studio here in Colorado when I was 21. And then I met my husband later in life, so like 33, 34. And then I immediately, had my baby. And things just kind of started happening really fast. But when I had my family, this was a new time in my life where I could be like, okay, well, before I was a studio owner and a business owner and single, and I had time to work 7 days a week. So all these things started coming up as a question for myself. Like, how are you going to be a mother, and how are you going to be a wife? And like, what do you really, really want? So all of that eventually bottomed out. And it was painful for me. Leaving dance was like leaving the church, like all the whole network, people who were my friends, it was gone. It was like leaving the church, gone. So I was kind of flatlined, starting at zero. My finances bottomed out. It was just a mess. So then I had to rearrange, like, do I want to dance anymore? Do I even like it? It brought me so much pain. And so now I'm coming back to dancing with myself. And when that part of my life, I didn't understand it at all. So I remember my husband and my daughter went up skiing, and they invited me to go. And I said, no, I'm just going to sit here. So I got a meditation pillow out, and I got some incense, and I stubbornly sat there on my meditation pillow until some sort of, something happened. So
The
I think
nudge.
for like 4 hours, I was just pissed at the universe and everything, and I needed an answer. So I literally sat there like this, just waiting. And maybe about 4 hours in, my body started moving. And it was like this really primal movement that I've never experienced before. And it just felt like, it was like I was able to move through it, or to reconnect. So now with movement, which I like hip hop a lot, I'm doing it just to spark joy for people, because I think now, especially after 2020, we're all needing a lot more happiness and smiles and laughing. So I love doing that. And then I also love bringing in energy work into the classroom, like in a yoga or an improv, where I can actually do energy work in a group setting. And then I just kind of tap into the guides to see what is happening, what they need to hear. So it was interesting. The first time I did that, I just surrendered to, we'll just see what happens. And there are certain little mantras. So I've been using a lot of mantras have been coming in into sessions too. So these mantras were coming in, and then after the session, I just asked if anybody wanted to share their experience or aha moment. And literally every single person in the room said, when you said, whatever, that really was for me. And nobody said the same thing. So it really was as if messages for each person individually was able to come through the session. And then collectively, you can just feel this beautiful, just a breath, just a breath. So yeah.
That's so cool. Now,
That's divine.
do you think motherhood changed your life? Like, did that make you change a little bit, or?
Yeah, because my mother passed away when I was 3 years old. So I grew up without a mother, and I actually saw her, like she had an aneurysm. So I was in the car as a little 3-year-old when she
Lord Jesus.
had her fall. So I grew up, which again, so here's the thing though. Because of this, I am who I am. Like, I'm super compassionate. I have a very soft spot for people. I think one of my gifts is to always see people, and I want to hold them so they can see their light and their love and their greatness. So I think that's because I didn't have that, and I was always seeking and searching for that. So now, coincidentally, when I left my business that had me working literally 7 days a week, it provided me so much time to be with my daughter and just to be with her. So now when I do have to go to work, she always says, "Aw." So I'm like, okay, I'm so grateful for this time that we have. And then I'm not working 7 days a week. so I can actually be with her and experience this unconditional love, which for me as a girl, that's what I was always seeking, which was unconditional love. And like, you know, that's different for everybody. Everybody has their own dynamics with their mother. But for me as a mother now, I know that there's, you know, she's always got me, my daughter. Like there's nothing that she can do
That's cool.
that will ever, you know, sway my love for her. So to be able to see and to experience unconditional love, definitely, yes, has changed my life. And she brings me to awareness of, you know, now that I'm doing my own inner child work, it keeps me super aware of what she's picking up and how she's seeing the world. And so I'm kind of teaching her these things too. So hopefully she doesn't have to unravel so much as an adult, which I think we all unravel a little bit. So maybe she doesn't have to unravel as much as most.
That's so beautiful. And I'm sure over the pandemic, you got a lot of time to spend that quality time with her and connect to that. And speaking of which, how did that shift for you? And what was your work like during that time? Did it change the level of the type of work you're doing based on what people were looking for?
So both. So for dance classes, we all went to Zoom. And so that was super fun to meet for me, because I think there was that period of time where everybody just their gifts started to come forward, and everybody was offering free. Like, here's a free meditation class, and here's a free musical theater class, and here's a free art class, because everybody just kind of wanted to offer what they could online. And so I actually started doing, it was what I called a ground and groove class. So I would incorporate hip hop, but then I would also incorporate like grounding and breath work and like, you know, that kind of stuff. So it was a little bit of grounding and then you grooved. So I offered that every week. And I think one day I had people literally from all over the world, from London, India, Canada, and then all over the United States. So it was super fun.
How fun. What a great way to shift and go into what we were having go on in the world, and yet bring such a grounded and fun way of dealing with it.
Yeah. Well, I think when people talk about spirituality, we have this mindset that it has to look a certain way, that you can't have to be serious all the time. You have to be calm, you have to be peaceful. But really, it's this, like, we are all divine, and you get to be your own divine self, whatever that looks like for you, you know? And I think, again, the spiritual shit show is that your spiritual journey is messy. Like, I can meditate and feel fantastic during the day, and then at night something can come in and trigger me, and I'm yelling, and then I'm so not in my Zen anymore. But the trick is that but now I have an awareness of like, where did that come from? Why am I feeling that? How can I fast track through this? How can I sit with this really tough emotion or experience? And how can I, you know, explore what the other side and the gift and the lesson is? And I can do that quick. And everybody can do that quick if we have an awareness and a teaching on how to do it. But that doesn't take you out from being who you innately are, you know?
Right.
Well, we're going to take a quick.
Well, I was going to say before that, how did you come up with the actual name of the spiritual shit show? Like, how did that come about?
It's because of the past 4 or 5 years of my life of kind of transition, like everything bottomed out. I had to sit with myself. And this is when my gifts started coming up, which I felt crazy. Like the first time I spoke a light language, I was like, I definitely have a brain tumor or something. Like something is wrong with me. Crazy. And I kept it under wraps. I didn't want anybody to know what I was doing. And then, you know, like beings of people would come and say, we are, you know, like there's the Council of Light that I channel. They were the Council of Light, and I'd ask questions, and they're funny. They're like, we don't want to tell you too much because you'll just overanalyze it. So just know we're here and you've seen us. Like I've had certain experiences where I'd go and get like a massage, and the lady in my mind, she was just like this blue person working my body, and it was just like these really weird experiences. And they're like, yes, that was all versions of us, and that was just our slight introduction, so that way you can feel us. So I mean, that stuff crazy, right? It makes you feel crazy, but it's not, which is why I love this time on earth. So going back to 2020 question, I feel like 2020 bottomed at pretty much everybody out for the most part, so you can start really thinking about, what do I want in life? What do I believe in? these things that I've been chasing, are they really important, or is it really coming back to community and friendships and relationships and love and energy? Like I was watching a Netflix animal show or something with my daughter, and they were giving Reiki to dogs. And I was like,
Oh,
yes. So all this stuff is coming mainstream. And I think now the goal is that it can become more mainstream without it being woo-woo. And it also doesn't have to look a certain way either.
absolutely. Okay. And we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back for more with Julie Nguyen. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Mupo and Friends. We are here with Julie Nguyen. And Julie, I wanted to ask you, aside, you have this spiritual shit show. We were also talking, you do an intuitive work that you do. You have a women's group, and I know you have a 4-week transformational program. Can you go through the different programs that you offer and the differences for people that are looking into this type of medium, are not sure what the differences are?
Yes. So I'm also, aside of all of this other things, I also am a life coach. And so when I started doing life coach, I had a hard time with it because I felt like I was leading people down a path that was not always going to be satisfactory to them. So I do intuitive life coaching now, where I actually just tap into the guides, and then they can kind of tell you what you need, or if they can see what you're doing, they'll say, yes, 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 do more of that, or have you thought about this? So that way it's a little bit more space is held for clarity, which alleviates a lot of just kind of trial and error for people. So I do intuitive life coaching. You can do it one-on-one. And sometimes people just want a session, a check-in session, just to make sure they're on the right path. I also do a 30 for 30 session, which has been super fun. So if somebody's like having a crisis mode and really having an off day, they just shoot me a text and say, this is what I'm doing. I just set up my voice memo and I go right into a reading and a channel for them and send it to them. So you don't even have to be present. It's not like an energetic physical healing. It's just kind of channeling, dropping in, letting you know kind of where the resistance is happening to help them to work through that. And then I do just regular energy work. And then with that usually comes messages, because they're kind of intertwined. So you can kind of see like what's happening. But when you do regular energy work, aside from channel work, it can also help target, like if you're having, shoulder problems or knee problems, or if you've been having headaches or, those types of things, to kind of help soothe and to clear out just any sort of physical ailment as well.
So that helps with if you're having that's more of a physical, the energy work helps with physical things like knees, bad knees, or
Doesn't the
things like that.
chakra
Okay.
do that too, though?
Yeah.
Because there's a throat chakra, and then I'm learning about some of this stuff because I'm really into it.
Mhm.
So Sunday I just go to this other group. It's funny, I call it my church, but it's like and there's meditation and everything, and so, but you're also psychic too, right?
I use that word with the caution for myself, because I know a lot of people want to go see psychics to get their future told to them. So I just open up to messages, and sometimes people, ancestors come in as well.
So that's like a medium then, right?
Yeah. But
Mm.
and the reason I'm cautious about psychics in general is because I've also have my own, of course, when I'm super desperate, I want to go to see somebody to tell them exactly what I'm going to be doing. But what that does is it strips you from your own power to create. So the work that I'm really enjoying is having, it's almost like having your best friends with the best, inspiration, the best support with you all the time, that they're not going to necessarily tell you what is, what's going to happen. Because I think sometimes that sets you up for failure, or it's like I've had so many, I'm supposed to have a second baby by now. I still only have one child. So I could either take that as all that information from different psychics that I was going to have another baby as they were wrong, or I could think that, I'm devastated by receiving this news and it's still not happening, so I caution a little bit sometimes about receiving psychic premonitions, because it strips you, like I said, it strips you of your own power to create your world. But when you work with spirit will tell you, this is really great, or have you thought about this, or have you tried this? So it just kind of enforces a little bit more personal empowerment.
That's
I've
the
experienced
intuitive coaching,
like,
and the being able to intuitively develop your awareness.
Yes.
I've done that where my spirit guide has come out and just said things sporadically. It's about like things that I would never know, but they've never told anyone. And it's just, I think that it's weird. It's almost like I give them a message and then they're like, oh my God, you got to read me. And I'm like, I don't think so. And I just keep walking, but it's just like, if my spirit guide's talking to you, they're talking to you for a reason to help you. So figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I can't explain it. I never told anyone. I'm sure you get that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's been interesting for me too, because I have to turn it off. Like a couple weeks ago, there was nothing. I didn't do any work at all, because I was like, I feel like I'm so in this other realm, I'm forgetting what it actually feels like to be, myself. So I turned it off completely, and I'm not trying to access information for anybody or anything. It was just kind of like done. So actually, Holly, when we did our session together, I was really nervous, because I was like, I haven't done this for a couple weeks.
Oh, really?
As soon as we met, the
I
light
couldn't tell.
coming, I was like, okay, it's back. So now I know I have the switch that I can turn on and turn off. But even for me, I have to be very careful about it, because I don't want to it's all in balance. Everything's in balance.
You were definitely very attuned with whatever was messaging through you to me. I could really feel it. I could really feel it. It was, but there was, like I said, I felt a comfort, very trusting, very calm. I knew that whatever energy was
She's an
going on
angel.
was safe, was really powerful, and I understood the messages that were coming through you. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it's almost like you're angelic.
So
where can people find the work that you're doing, and the Spiritual Shit Show? I love that name, by the way.
Just look up Spiritual Shit Show. That's what I did.
What platforms are you on?
my personal one is on Instagram, which is
Okay.
I don't think I have it under. I have Spiritual Shit Show on Instagram, but I don't really post anything to it yet.
Okay.
So that's Juju. I think it's Juju Love _Nguyen, Nguyen on Instagram. And then the website is spiritualshitshow.com. And then the transformative 4-week transformation thing is you get every week. So it's every week you check in. So it's a combination of using connecting you into your spirit guides to help you do the work. And so it's more of a life coaching. So whatever it is that you want to do, we do this first focus group. And then I'll also check in with guides to see if this is kind of where they, you can have an end result, but sometimes I'll tell you like where to start and give you the steps on how to do it. So then, and then I blend also just the energetic work as well in there. So you get the Reiki, you get the life coaching, you get the intuitive coaching, and then it kind of helps you to fast track your goals a little bit. And then doing the energy work in the life coaching, when you do come up against a block, something that's holding you back, being able to use intuitive guidance again helps you to kind of, I don't know, I've experienced it myself too, but you guys have experienced too. It's like there's something and then it comes to the surface through the work, and then you just feel better and you feel lighter.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt
Right.
like you peeled layers of my skin off. Like I feel like 100 pounds lighter, and I'm not. But
In an hour, 1 hour.
yeah, it did. It really, really relaxed. And let me tell you, for those of you who
Very
don't know, I
relaxing.
was having a bad morning. I was even contemplating, should I just not do this because she's gonna know I had a terrible morning. And you did know I had a terrible morning. I didn't even have to say anything. It was just, it was weird. And then I was just like, oh. But then I went back and you know what's funny? I keep thinking about me rolling in the mud. Just because I'm a hippie. I'm just very free spirited. Everyone should just love one another. Be peaceful, you know? It,
And
I have
free.
a,
You don't know how
and
to do
free.
yeah. I love
That's
it.
hilarious.
free to
Rolling in the mud. I have a question. How do you silence the noise in the world, all the constant chatter and even the chatter in our heads sometimes that almost sounds like people are really there in the room talking to us and there's no one there. It's just all upstairs. How do you silence that or suggest to people that they do?
Well, when I hear you say that there's people in your head, but they're not really there. Some people do.
Not in a cray cray.
I mean, like some
No,
people.
I was thinking that.
Everybody's like going,
I was
Polly?
thinking that. Like I
Okay,
you know,
we're gonna do intervention after the show. No, no, I don't hear people. Let me rephrase that. Just the what we call the monkey mind, how we're constantly streaming thoughts and we're constantly our minds are over here. I got to do this. I got to run over here. Oh yeah, I got to take that car in. Blah blah blah. So how do you silence that to just get into that real centered space? I mean, a lot of people say they do, but they don't.
I think it takes a lot of practice and time and intention and awareness and want. Meditation is super helpful, but I think a lot of people have a hard time with meditation. So
Mhm.
if you do have a hard time with meditation, start with breath work, because you can do, I think we're seeking peace or calm or clarity or support, which underneath all of that is we're all just seeking love and how to be ourselves in the world and how to experience life the way we individually want to see life. So if you do have a hard time with meditation because your mind is like totally no, when you sit down, you're like, I can't sit here. Like I gotta do laundry, I gotta do all these other things. I can't sit.
Right.
Then if you can just commit to doing 5 minutes of just breath work, of just breathing, and it's all things that you can do in the car too,
Right.
I used to have anxiety really, really, really bad. And now that I started into this other realm, I don't have anxiety anymore, but I used to depend heavily on my breath work, and I'd look like a weirdo, I'm sure, in my car, but it was the only thing that kind of got me grounded and centered and feeling good. So meditation is helpful. Journaling is helpful. Going for walks. So I think it's what we've taglined as self-care as a
Right.
priority. But in that vein, it's finding what really works for you personally. Like maybe it's just binge watching, Netflix for a couple hours just because you just need to like be mindless for a second, or maybe you want to, or maybe you just want to go out with your friends because you haven't been out and actually like listen to good music or to
Right.
I think what I'm trying to say is finding these things that bring you joy, really getting clear on the things that light you up inside. Do more of that.
Finding your zen, your zen
I just
space, your
write it
your
in my
moment.
goals and make
I find the
got
breath
to.
really works for me. I like the mirror work as well,
Mhm.
and the breath work. Just this getting in touch with your belly or holding your heart
Mhm.
and feeling your heartbeat is so amazing, amazing. Well, thank you for that.
Exercise that I did when I teach sometimes, and I did this in China. So I taught in China for up until 2020, and
What was that like?
amazing. It was amazing. My daughter and I were on a plane back when COVID hit. And so if we would have,
Wow.
Han thinks it's a fantastic story because we would have been, if it was 2 days later, we would have been one of the people that had to get flown out by the military. But luckily we got out
Wow.
time.
Wow.
But we didn't even know. Like, we just heard it and we're like, ooh. But anyway, teaching in China was fantastic because I knew that I was there to teach love. And I was just there to teach love disguised as dance. And so we would go on city tours and we would teach for 5 days in each city. And the bonds that we were able to make through dance, because I don't speak, Mandarin, we were able to make, and the connection. One of the girls who did speak English, she came up to me at the end and she said, I realized that she said, teacher, I'm so happy right now. Thank you so much. I realized that in order to find myself, I have to lose myself. And I was like, wow.
Oh,
Amen.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
15.
profound.
But I usually do an exercise because I feel like dancers are really vulnerable and are open to trying new things. So you just sit, so it's a mirror work, but you do it with a partner. And so you sit there and you just for, a minute or two, just stare at each other's eyes, and permission granted. Like, if you are laughing hysterically the whole time, then laugh. If you're feeling really uncomfortable, laugh. But what happens more of the time is that people just start crying because we actually really, we're always so busy that we are never really with the people. And so to actually be and seeing somebody that, the kids are always like, it's like, of course they pick their best friends because that's safe. So I always have
Right.
safe. And they're like, I'm with her all the time. And it was as if I'm seeing her for the first time.
Wow.
So
I did that at a spiritual, it was called The Rise, was a movement for women. It was spiritual based, of course. And we got paired off and we had to look in each other's eyes, eye to eye. It's very intense. It's very confronting. It's very deep. And it is. And just to not even blink, not even look away. Because as human beings, we naturally tend to look away when we're uncomfortable or we don't hold a gaze too long. But in this case, it was powerful work. Really
Yeah, whoever
amazing.
turns loses.
No, it wasn't about
That's how you
losing.
train a dog, believe it or not.
No, it wasn't about that. It was just really about connecting and really going deep in, because the windows are the windows, your windows to your soul, your eyes. So it was amazing
and
to hear you say that.
came up, which I haven't really thought about. So I know before I started really doing this, I always ran in the circles of people who would do energy work or whatever. And every time I'd see him, I'd always kind of like shut off because I'm like, what do you know? I don't want you to see things. So it's this, what you just shared and how you said it was this understanding of really, there's a lot of the times that we don't want people to see what's inside or our chaos or our pain. And we work really hard on the daily to show up as a certain version of ourselves that's going to be acceptable. But when you actually sit either with yourself and doing the mirror work, or when you sit with somebody else and you just can see them and you're vulnerable enough and you're in this space where you can see all things, then you really drop into the whole human experience, that the whole entire human experience is pain and joy and frustration and love and laughter, and times when you're on your ass and you don't want to go on anymore, times when you have to surrender, times when you have to ask for help. And actually, we shouldn't mask any of that. All of that should be open as acceptable, like human life behavior and experience. That life, that if you're experiencing something other than happiness, that doesn't mean that you're unstable or you can't handle life, that you're just experiencing a human emotion, fear, anxiety, or depression, or, confusion, or feeling stuck in your life, that these are all very normal human experiences that we all have. And then another thing is, it's with my friend who helped me with when I was, really like going crazy because I dropped out of one career and like nothing else was happening. I was like, so I spent a lot of time with her, and I just went and saw her recently, and she was like, so I'm in therapy. And I was like, what? Like, your parents are like the most like spiritual people on the planet, and you've studied under them, and you guys are so wise, and I've taken all of your courses, like what? And she was like, oh, like I'm going back to like my childhood dynamics too. And I'm like, damn, we don't escape. You can be as spiritual as you want when it doesn't take away your human experience. And that is ultimately why I said it's the spiritual shit show, that we're not here investigating life or meditation to find complete happiness, Zen all the time. That's not the point. The point is, how can I understand myself better? How can I recognize when certain patterns are coming up, when certain behaviors that I'm doing are happening? And so I can ultimately just be more of a brighter beacon of light and love, and learn how to let myself off the hook when I'm not that. Yeah.
And how to share it with others. And like you said, love, I think love is the ultimate superpower in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with more and the conclusion from Julie Nguyen. And we're back with Mupo and Friends, and we're here with Julie Nguyen. And Julie, we were talking backstage. I wanted you to share that. You were saying sometimes Jesus is Buddha and Buddha is Jesus. We're talking about people not necessarily having to be one specific way and how they show up.
Yes. So when I was teaching in China, one of my translators was very Buddhist, and she does not want to ever come back to this life ever. She wants to become the Buddha so she can be, an enlightened being. So she practices, all the things. Wow. And we're talking, and she was saying that that she believes that Buddha is Jesus and Jesus is Buddha, and ultimately it's all the energy of love. And that she used the analogy that if you were at a bar and needing to help somebody who is, needing help, you wouldn't show up, a certain way. You would show up and dress like him, and you'd sit down. And even if you don't drink, you're going to order a beer, and you're going to have a beer with that person. So it's identifiable. So what she was saying is that love is shape shifts, so to speak. So however you need to see the source of love in whatever way you need to see it, then that's what it is. So the Buddha is Jesus and Jesus is Buddha, and they come from the same source.
Wow.
Side of that, I will say I am more Buddhist, but I was raised Catholic. And in January, I was channeling my mom, which was very interesting to me because I don't know any stories about her or who she was, but my dad is sick with Alzheimer's. So she came in my morning work, and I was like, wow. And I've searched for her for a really long time. Like, I'd go see psychics to see if I could talk to her. And she would always come in, but like way in the back, not offering any. She just wanted to say she's here, and that was it. So for me to be able to channel her was interesting, but she was very, very Catholic. And in one of the messages that she said, you need to get to know Jesus because I know him very well, and he's a great man.
So I'm going to stop you for just a second. Was Easter, do you know if Easter was her favorite holiday?
Probably.
Yeah, because I'm sensing that.
Can I just say, backstage, y'all are talking about all the things that you do and the gifts that you have too. So I'm just saying that for everybody, is that sometimes we have these gifts of like seeing or having intuition or chanting and meditation, and we kind of keep it in so it doesn't look crazy. So
I'm going to say one more thing. I see an egg, and I see one of those Easter eggs, but pink and yellow pastel. It was pink, like a light pink with yellow and green pastel, like a pastel color. Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, but that's what I see right now. I don't know if that was your mom's or not, but yeah. And for some reason I see like an Afghan.
Yeah. She made Afghans.
Yeah.
She made what is it called? That's very popular now, like the Michele type of things.
Crochet, knitting.
You put them in your plants in it now.
I don't know. I probably know it if I see it.
Whatever.
But yes, for some reason, I see Afghans around a lot. Like I see that. I could probably talk to your mom. I tend to do that. Like for some reason, I don't know. Like things happen.
I feel that
happen for a reason.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I call it the knowing, when you feel something intuitively, or it's an understanding, you know that it's something not of this realm. It's there. You can't quite put it into the layman terms for everyone to have it in a pretty little package. It's just, I just say it's the knowing. It's from really deep within, and maybe from another time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 See, I see, like,
And then there's the downloads
yeah.
that
See,
just
like, I just
come
see
and
things.
allow you to express, and you know exactly what to write. Like I can pick up a pen and a paper, and sometimes I feel like I've had things read back to me that I'm like, it's me. The yeah.
Just think, in about 60, 70 years from now, people are going to remember us somehow. We're going to be in another spirit. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I shouldn't say 50, 60, let's just say 100 years from now, because I'm going to live forever. So, but like,
I know. I'm like, wait, 50 sounds
no, but because I'm
yeah, 100.
53, I don't know if I want to live past 115. I mean, seriously, like, I'm 53, but I don't feel 53. I feel like I'm 17 again.
My aunt always said, never tell your age, because then you become that number. So always just be
Right.
your energy.
All right, then I'm 21.
I said I was 24
There
today.
you
I'm
go.
21. I'm 21. I'm allowed to drink.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think everybody has these gifts. And so if I could share anything, that when you're going through the process of awakening, which I think is just actually being able to push out all the crud that you've been taught and come back to your own personal truth, is what awakening is. And to stay curious about the journey, knowing it's going to be messy sometimes, and you're going to, it's not always, we're not striving to have this perfect life, but it could be really freaking amazing. That is not crazy. And more people are talking about their gifts of being able to see, or have prophecies, or, have really dreams that predict the future, or
that happens to me all the time. If I say something's happening, people, it's happening. Mupo Entertainment will be in every household all around the world. We will buy buildings and put our homeless veterans in it and make it handicap accessible. So all you people out there that have money that are watching this, you guys should go buy the buildings and let's make it happen.
Amen. Yes.
Because there's too many homeless people in the world, and it's sad.
It's true.
It's sad that we live a paycheck away from nothing. You know what I mean? Paycheck to paycheck, or I mean, especially with COVID, there's people that don't have any money. I see people under the bridge, and there's families living under the bridge now. They lost their place, and it just breaks my heart.
Mm.
It breaks my heart.
I have a question for you. Came to me. What about numbers? The whole, and we talked about it a little bit, the whole seeing of the numbers and constantly showing up a certain way.
You mean like 444 or 1111? Is that what you're
Yeah.
talking about?
What's your take on that, Julie?
So I do believe that there's angelic numbers, and that's how they speak to us. And what I've been getting guided to, because I'm like, well, what? Because my mind wants to organize and place myself into a spiritual box of, this is what it is, this is what life is, right? So I can catch myself doing it in a session for myself. One time the guides were saying, no. Angels are really for the earthly dimension. Like, they are here kind of protecting us. And then you also have like your galactic, council of light and different things like that. And I'm doing it there above, but it's not, it's more like galaxy information. But the angels and the archangels are really here for this, to help us on this earthly plane in a way that we know that they're here, or that they're speaking to us, is through numbers. So 111, a lot of people recognize that.
Yep.
There's another one, 333, but I have a whole book.
Yeah.
All of it. But what do you think?
I get a lot of, as I shared, I had gotten 111 for probably 3-4 consecutive years, every day, all day, 24 hours a day. And then after that, it started with a 333, 444, the threes and the fours. And now I still get a lot of fours, and it's transitioned into fives.
So,
and I will also see 10, the completion.
1010.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
10s.
I see every hour on the hour, I'll look and it'll be 12, 12, 1, 1, 1,
Mhm.
11, 11. And it happens to
Mhm.
me all the time.
Yeah,
And you know
I
what
have
I
that
do?
too.
I just make a wish for somebody. I don't do it for me necessarily because I feel like that's selfish. So I know if somebody's having struggle, I kind of do it for them. And then that's me giving too, because I feel like you have to give. And if you don't give, you're not going to get back. And I don't mean to give and to expect something back, because the universe works differently. And I'm going to tell you a story before we end, like, when, because I know we're over time, but
Yeah.
my
The I
grandmother, I just want to tell you this because I'm going to tell you the story about giving. My grandmother, um, was in the hospital at one point and I had to take care of her. She died at 101 years old, right? And I was with her every day. Every day. I mean, I give her medicine since the accident. So 89, she had a cerebral hematoma. I'm not going to say what happened because it aggravates me. So it's a blood clot in your brain, right? So she wasn't the same. And I knew after the first surgery that something was wrong. She couldn't move her legs. She couldn't do anything, right? And it was crazy. And that wasn't my grandmother, because my grandmother used to drive to Atlantic City. Okay, that's my grandmother in Atlantic City is 2.5 hours from here. You know what I mean? But she used to go to bingo. She used to go anywhere. And I sat down to God and I was like, God, please, I'll do, whatever you need me to do. Just make my grandmother be okay and come through make it through. Because I loved my grandmother. I didn't want to see nothing happen. Right. And so I had a doctor flew in, Regis Philbin, may he rest in peace, had a doctor fly in to Robert Wood Johnson on a helicopter that night. And he couldn't do any surgery or anything, but he could he could advise because he wasn't a part of that hospital. And he says, what do you think? I'm like, this is not my grandmother. And because he came and because that happened, from all the times I give, God gave back to me and gave my grandmother a second chance. And everyone's like, you know what? Oh, you're going to get this. I don't need anything. I have my grandmother. Like, I'm not worried about the house. I'm not worried about, you know what I'm saying? What I'm worried about is saving a life, because her stories motivated me and kept me going. Like, she hung out with Al Capone, gave her a raise. I mean, stories that you would not even think of. One day I came home and she had cardboard on the windows because she said the helicopters, the CIA were watching. Like, this is after the accident, but I'm saying, like, it was just, there was never a dull moment with her. You know what I mean? And God gave me from 89 to 101 all those extra years. I have to do this. I'm not going to go back on my word. My goal is to be a better person and to give. And not, when you give something to somebody, the key is don't expect anything back. Because when you expect anything from anybody, that's when you're going to fall. Because you can't rely on anything. You have to worry about yourself first and be whole with yourself. And when you're giving, God will give back tenfold. Buddha will give back tenfold. Amen. Jesus will give, whatever whatever you want to call Ali, whatever you want to call your thing, your hierarchy, they're going to give you whatever you need. You have to be whole, though. I had to do my little spiritual. I had to tell you that. It's all about giving. Amen. Yeah.
Amen.
So
I would.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know we have to start closing. So if you had to give your, really, like, if you could share anything with the world, what would it be? Like your nugget. It sounds like, Michele, it's, all about giving and whatever you're going to get back.
Yeah, love.
I don't want to say that that's what it is. So if you could have your one nugget that you would offer to all the watchers or listeners, or whatever, what's your main point?
It would be love. It would be love, living in love, coming from love.
Yeah, love one another. Respect one another. I would say give and not expect anything back. I have a lot of things that I try to do. And believe me, I am very human. So I could say the F-bomb and it won't mean anything to me. I'll just keep rolling. But you know what? I'm never ever going to say God's name in vain, because the F-bomb is not in the Bible. That's the way I look at it. So all you Catholic people watching out there, and the Jewish people, and all you people, you're all, everybody sins. You know what I'm saying? You just got to keep trying to be better. I don't know if I answered your question, because I'm never the one that gets interviewed. I'm usually the interviewer. But yeah, no, I would give. I've given my shirt off for somebody that needed clothing. And I'm not kidding. You got to help people.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about helping, because once you help somebody, they're going to help somebody and pay it forward. And then it's a domino effect. Like, what amazes me? Like, you're with Han. Han is very spiritual. That man, as soon as he sat down, I knew he was cool as hell. Because you know why? Because usually you get people and you're just like, oh, I don't even know what to say. Because I'm like a big Karate Kid fan. You know what I mean? And I was like, I really am a big Karate Kid fan. You know what I mean? I was bullied. And you know what? I took karate. You know what I mean? And it was just, I know, like, he is the real deal. You are the real deal. Like, there's a lot of fake, people out there that say they know how to heal people. And she's the real deal, people. Everybody should come to Julie right now, Julie Nguyen, and get a session. And I'm not kidding. Just get one session and then come back to me and tell me if it was worth it. Because I'm telling you right now, you will not be disappointed.
Thank you.
It's
Absolutely.
true. It is true. And you're coming on Mupo and Friends. You're going to be a part of the Mupo and Friends family.
Perfect. Awesome.
So take it away, Holly.
Well, so to answer your question, what I would share with the world is love, coming explicitly from love in everything you do, in everything you're in your thoughts, and the way that you create the things in your life, and how we build our projects, our world, from our work to the families we build, everything. If you really come from love, I always say it's the biggest superpower. It's the most powerful emotion and power that there is in the world. Everything stems from it, creates from it, goes back to it all the time. So love.
And
Absolutely.
I'm going to say something. You know how you get everything you want in life, people? You just got to, I know, if you want something, just go out and get it. Take action, go out and get it. And then you'll realize it's not what you expected. Trust me, because you have to learn this spiritual realm before you can actually grasp and appreciate it. Because it's really about appreciation. And being grateful.
This documentary that changed my life, and it was like about euthanism for humans. I said that word right. But it was really like, whoa, because there's a man, he had ALS, I think. So we're tracking, as a documentary, tracking his journey. And the day that he was going to go take the poison, everything was slow. So like, we hear to live every day like it's your last, but to what that actually really feels like, to drops you into, like him being able to experience the wind, blowing on his face for the very last time.
Wow.
Or what the sun looks like, or what the leaves look like, rustling. So I think sometimes we get so caught up in doing and achieving and being and all of these things that we forget just what it feels like to sit down and enjoy, the beautiful things in life, to appreciate, like a beautiful, sky, or, what the trees look like, or, what the grass feels like underneath my feet, or, what my daughter's, smile looks like now, like all, or just this moment here, I feel so lit up with being with both of you. So what a magical moment. So
Absolutely.
Really,
thank you.
In love. So thank you so much.
Well, we're going to take another quick little break, and we're going to be right back with a fun wrap up with Julie Nguyen. right, everybody. Thank you for joining us, Julie. It's been such a pleasure to have you here on the show. And this has just been such a treat, such a treat. This is a special show. It's not, your regular uh, business talk or movie talk. This is really from the stuff that comes from the heart, from the soul, from the spirit, discovering where we're from, that higher being and higher way of travel that we've had into this world. So I want to thank you so much for sharing with us all your tips and your stories. And before we wrap up, we like to do 3 fun fill in the blanks. So I start a phrase or sentence and you finish. Are you ready?
Sure. It has to be clean.
Huh?
I said it has to be clean.
It
It doesn't have to be.
Be real.
But, if I could glean wisdom from anyone alive or dead, I would ask.
If I could ask wisdom from anybody alive or dead,
Mm-hmm.
I would sit with the Dalai Lama.
Wow.
And I don't actually think I would ask anything. I would just want to be in the presence and feel that energy.
Love that.
Yeah.
The biggest shift in my life.
The biggest shift in my life was literally leaving my job in the middle of my business and choosing freedom over comfort and being in that really courageous and chaotic journey.
In choreographing my life story for stage, it would look like.
It would look fun and hip hop and all of my, it would be just a celebration of life, I think is what it would be. Raw, real life, but fun.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Julie. It's been such a treat visiting with you on YouTube at youtube.com under Julie Nguyen. You can also follow her on Facebook at Julie Nguyen, and it's spelled Nguyen, but pronounced Nguyen, correct?
Yes.
On Instagram at Juju Love, Juju Love _ Nguyen, pronounced Win, on LinkedIn under Julie Win, and at her website at www.spiritualshitshow.com. And if you don't know how to spell that one, as always, thank you for tuning in to Mupo and Friends, courtesy of Mupo TV. You can find this and all our shows at www.mupoentertainment.com. That is www.mupoentertainment.com. And until next time, this is Holly Lombardi, our special guest, Julie Nguyen, and our host is CEO and mastermind of Mupo Entertainment and Mupo and Friends, Michele Mupo. And until next time, we are over and out.